Welcome to the Stopping to Think podcast. I'm your host, Will Dole. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Today I'm reading a piece I wrote for the Lamar's Bible Church website back in August of 2020. It's titled, Follow. John 21, first part of verse 20, and then verses 21 to 22. Peter turned and saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them. When Peter saw him, he said to Jesus, "Lord, what about this man?" Jesus said to him, "If it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? You follow me." The setting. Here on the shores of Lake Galilee, Jesus has found 7 of his disciples fishing. He doesn't identify himself to them, but rather asks them a question. Have you caught any fish? Verse 5. This seems rather insensitive because they haven't. But if you know the story, he more than makes up for this jab in the rib cage. Jesus tells them to let down their net on the right side of the boat, and the resulting haul of fish, 153, is overwhelming to the point where they can't get the fish on board. Jesus here reveals himself to the disciples. This is the one who knows all, the one who provides, the one who is their Lord. But for Peter, Jesus is also doing something else. Jesus is the all-knowing, perfect provider, the Lord whom Peter thrice denied. And so, as we come to the latter half of John 21, we find Jesus reestablishing Peter via some painful questioning. You may remember this. Do you love me more than these? Do you love me? Do you love me? Peter, who publicly denied the Lord 3 times before the crucifixion, is restored by this set of threefold questions, to which he replies each time, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." This also is public before the other disciples, and so Jesus commissions him, "Feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep." A painful call. Then Jesus offers an unsolicited prophecy. You're going to die, Peter, and you're going to die by crucifixion. See verses 18 and 19. Why in the world would Jesus say this to him at this juncture? Perhaps because of what Peter says in 13:37 of John's Gospel, "I will lay down my life for you." In that context, Jesus questions Peter's devotion. Will you lay down your life for me? And then he issues a chilling statement. The rooster will not crow 3 times till you have denied me. We've come out to the other end of that circumstance. Peter had denied Jesus, but now, here in John 21, he's been restored. And Jesus looks forward to the spirit-filled and empowered ministry he is going to work through Peter, and he says, you know how you'll meet your earthly end? You will die for me. Squirming. This apparently isn't what Peter had thought of as an ideal sort of restoration ceremony, though, because he sees John trailing behind. And he feels compelled to ask Jesus, but what about him? And Jesus' response should cause all of us to sit up and take note. He says, if it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? Or, as we said when we were kids, none of your beeswax, Peter. Mind your own business. You have one task, and it isn't making sure everything is fair between you and John, making sure your experiences are the same. Quit looking for your affirmation and validity in the experiences of someone else. Your task is simple. You follow me. You follow me. Do you see what Jesus is driving at? We can all just be like Peter. Lord, why is so-and-so's life so much easier? Father, why do you provide them with extra time or extra money, and here I am feeling like I'm drowning? Jesus could look at Peter and explain how hard things actually would be for John. Things were not easy for John. But he doesn't do that. He just says, what is that to you? You follow me. His call is so simple, so clear. Die to self and follow him. This has been the Stopping to Think podcast. I'm your host, Will Dole. Thank you for listening.